Well, khanyisa is a Zulu word that means to bring the light. And in the 1990s, this group of people came together in South Africa during the very racial divided years of South Africa with the hope to bring reconciliation and a message of reconciliation through Christ. And it was different cultures that have come together, and they spent their time traveling and doing music and dancing, and it was a creative arts ministry that wanted to bring a hopeful message in a dire situation in South Africa. And so that was the history part of it. And right now, khanyisa has become an international multicultural ministry now with the same hope to do the same thing, with bringing a message of hope, and also of reconciliation. And we feel a call back to go into South Africa, where our ministry was often outside of the nation. After many years of spending time in South Africa, it was often taken outside, and now we feel the call to go back in and so back into our own nation, Oh wow, Sarah, that is such a part of who we are, and believing in how God uses the creative arts to bring a message across culturally that we possibly could not speak. And we've been to cultures before, like China and Thailand and, in Asia and in Europe, where it's very difficult to explain, or even against the law, to explain and say, this is the gospel of Christ, where we've been able to do that through music and dancing and the creative arts. And I feel that God is calling us back into that He wants to communicate a message so strong and so visual that people won't be able to forget it. And I feel that's the place that the creative arts has right now in world evangelism, is to be able to go into cultures and impact those cultures with those creative gifts. And I'm excited to know and to see how God has moved through the dancing and through the music, and prophetically moved so to bring, about message that possibly we couldn't speak with our mouths,
Well, we have to be careful as Americans when we go there, to not sound like we have the answers, because it comes off offensive. But it is needed, just like it is here. I mean, khanyisa started out when they came to the States as missionaries from South Africa to the U.S. on racial reconciliation. And so as we go back, and going back home, really, because it's all of Mel's family's there, and we'll be working in the community where her parents still live. And so the need is huge because of what we're going to do. The first part of what we're going to do is to train and equip a team of people, one team, to travel all over the entire nation of South Africa. And our focus will be on HIV/AIDS education. And so the impact of that is huge. Right now, South Africa has the largest infection rate of HIV/AIDS in the world. And there's all kinds of numbers that go with that. But the biggest thing that hit me was when I was doing my research, was the average life expectancy of someone born now or in 2010 is 50 years old because of the HIV/AIDS.
Wow.
So in comparison, that's a quarter of a century cut off of somebody's life because of a disease. And we're not going to go and say we have all the answers and this and that. It's really what we're trying to do is we're going to the core of the problem, which is the family. The family structure in South Africa is out of whack because of cultural things. And so we're going to not attack, but that's where we're going to go. That's the point of our arrow, is going into the heart of the family, to renew the family so that the family can take control of their circumstances and get out of this rut that they're in. Specifically, like cultural things, some of the cultures there, the man has no relationship whatsoever with his son. And in other cultures, and there's several cultures within South Africa.
We have 11 official languages and that many cultures in South Africa. So it's a very vast, population, and it's very diverse. And so you can see, the impact that we're hoping to have on the culture is to go to the core of the culture, which is the family. And we believe that the Lord had given us a word that He will turn the hearts of the fathers back to the sons, and the hearts of the sons back to the fathers. Because when we teach life skills to children, or when we teach them to young people, and we ask them to make informed decisions and good choices for themselves, one of those informed decisions would be to make a good decision about your sexual health, because that's how HIV/AIDS gets spread. And we are not going to put a lid on it just because we're a Christian organization. We're going to call it what it is. And if you make good choices for your life, and if you make good choices when it comes to your sexual health, with your family, with all those aspects of your life, then yes, you can be one of the ones that are saved from this thing, you know. And it's often out of the culture that young people are being taught, you know, this is your right. It's your right to have sexual relations before marriage. It's your right to force a woman to have sex, even if she doesn't want to. And there's a very a gender inequality that's there, that just piles on top of that problem and piles on top of the issue of AIDS. And we want to come with a message of purity, first of all, and abstinence before, you know, with young people. We want to talk to them about making informed decisions, even becoming a Christian, because they when they make that choice and that decision, it has to be a lifetime decision for them. Because there's one thing that'll save us from the HIV virus is abstinence, and being in a marriage that's faithful. And we want to talk about that as a married couple, just purity in your marriage, you know, purity before you get married, and that hope that, yes, God, we can make a difference, you know, in somebody's life by telling them you have a choice. You have a choice, you know. And hopefully with what we're going to do through our production and training this team, this creative arts team, to go throughout the nation, that message would clearly come out, that family matters and the choices that you make today will matter tomorrow.
When we went home last year over Christmas, it would have been the first time in about 3.5 years that we'd been able to go home. And so it grabbed us. And in the situation that our family's in right now, it just became very real to us, the need. And if we only go back for our family, then it's enough.
Yeah.
I can see the emotion of both of you, that this is so near and dear to your hearts. What would you say to people who are watching this? How can they help? What would you say to encourage them to help?
Good.
Well, I mean, the obvious thing is finances. I mean, we have to raise 100% of our support, so we need the finances to go, plane tickets, the obvious things. We'll need to buy transportation and rent a house while we're there. Since it's not going to be permanent this first time, we're going to go for just about 11 months. And so we'll need to set up life there for 11 months. But the even more important than that, and just as important than that, is the prayer support.
Absolutely.
The support on this side to help maintain the things that we have here.
We want people to know that our desire is so strongly for those who don't know Christ to come to know Him, because that's the basis of all that we do. Otherwise, why do we do what we do if we cannot give them Christ in the way that we know how? And the way we know how is through the creative arts. It's who we are, it's what we do. But the message has to be clear, very clear, that Christ first, always, always Jesus first. I don't think I would have been able to make this decision to go back if I had not come here. I have grown more in the last 3 years than I have probably the last 10 years. Here at Christian Heritage, the impartation that has happened in our lives, just people pouring into us, Christy and Pastor and the people around us, just keep pouring into us and believing in us, you know, and giving us responsibility and helping us grow, and through the good and the bad, you know, just always pouring into us, always encouraging us. I have grown so tremendously, Sarah. It's incredible when I go back and I look at myself 3 years ago and I look at myself now, and just that godly confidence, I guess you can say. And it's a quiet confidence that I have in the Lord, and it's grown because I was here. I've learned about His faithfulness. I've learned more about His provision and the way things work when it comes to your finances, you know, and the way that Pastor Ledford has poured into us as a couple. I mean, we have just been blessed beyond measure. And that's part of why we want to come back and say, if there are people here at our church that has a heart for missions and that are creative people, that we want to create an opportunity for them to go and pour themselves out on behalf of the people in South Africa. We want to create that opportunity. We want to go before them and go, here's a place. Let's go together.